Hello friends, Joshua here with a local Earth Village update. We are getting to a pretty exciting spot at the village where people are starting to move onto the land here in the next couple weeks. Some people are actually already kind of temporarily there. And so this has brought up the process of how we choose which sites on the land we are all going to live on. And I wanted to take this opportunity to create a little video and start a dialogue with the world at large, the Facebook, social media world, and YouTube, of this topic of land allocation and resource management has been a topic of, I guess it's been a source of injustice and violence and very challenging situations all throughout history of human civilization and our species. We had tribes back in the day. Some lived harmoniously next to one another. Some would fight over hunting lands or good farming territory. And so how we acquire land, who stewards the land, the concept of land ownership, this all ties into this concept of we are working, everything under this project is under kind of the umbrella of a Earth 2.0 regeneration project, and that Earth 2.0 representing the next evolution of social systems and being as mindful and conscious as possible with all of the processes in the formation of these villages. And so, back throughout history, a lot of it, the land acquisition as to where somebody lived was taken by force or by violence. Coming over to the New World and people, racing out across the prairies on their horses and staking a flag in the ground and claiming that as their land for their home or their ranch. With no respect or thought to the people that had been there for thousands of years. And just that whole process of, somebody got there first, they staked their flag, they claimed that land, and then the way it's gone is those families, then if they're owners, they pass that on to their kids, and they have acquired a lot of land. And then all of a sudden the rest of the village or the society is renters, and they're paying that family rent, and that family starts to make money off of the land. And so all of these concepts are what we're trying to come up with much more mindful and conscious decisions with the Earth 2.0 regeneration project. And I'm sharing this with you because I'd love to get feedback from the audience, the world at large, as we start to go through some of these processes and get insight from the collective wisdom of, thousands and millions of people out here in social media land and the virtual world. We can have a dialogue with, thousands of us and have comments here on Facebook or YouTube. And this current phase that we're in right now, or in phase one, it's going to be sorry, I'm trying to adjust myself so I don't have bright lights in my face. Phase one is going to be 2 years on this property that we're currently on. It's 11 acres. And this won't be as fully idealistic as phase two, as the 150 person village, because this property already it was an avocado orchard at one point in time. There's already a road through the property. Certain places, spots have been graded, and so we don't have the opportunity to have a full permaculture approach to the raw land as to designing where water flows would be and how we would orient the spaces, the living sites on the land. Because a lot of the infrastructure is already there. And so in phase two in the 150 person village, it will be a much more holistic approach to designing all of the sites and the living spaces in a in a much more ecologically based way. But we're doing the best we can with what was already on this property. And so we have the 12 sites laid out and numbered on a map. And the process that we've gone through thus far is each village member, there's 8 people on the core group right now, has had some time to look at the map and the site and list like their top 3 interests of sites on the land where they would be interested in living, ranked 1 through 3. And so that's been some of the process, and then seeing where there's overlap. There's some sites that have really worked out where somebody's first choice, nobody else was their first choice, so it seems like that it fits well. But there have been other sites where 2 or 3 people have interest in the same site, saying this is my first choice. And so now we are at that point in the process of how do we make this Earth 2.0 decision in this process. If 2 or 3 people are interested in the same site, how do we have a mindful approach to making that decision? And we've had, within our meetings, we've had all kinds of different ideas. Then this is where I'm kind of posing it to you, the world, as to some brilliant ideas as to how we could work through this process. There's obviously like really simple things of if 2 or 3 people have interest in the same site, maybe we draw straws, and whoever gets the longest or the shortest straw gets to choose that number 1 site of theirs. So that's a very, very basic way. We're attempting to have a little more meaningful approach to it, and so we have our one of our village meetings tomorrow night. And so if you have any really great ideas as to how we can approach this in a Earth 2.0 conscious and mindful way, we'd love to hear your ideas and kind of source the wisdom of the collective community of the world as we create these processes. And a really exciting part of this for me right now is we often talk about going from the I to the we in the village, and the mindset of the collective consciousness and really caring about the whole, and while maintaining that sense of self and the individual within the whole, and keeping that a healthy balance. That's kind of the dance that we're in right now, and it's really beautiful. And it brushes up against some of these challenging things of trust. Do we really trust that our village mates and our friends are looking out for us, and letting go of some of that fear of like, I got to take care of myself and my own needs, and really lean into one another and be like, hey, we really trust that we're working together and we're making decisions that are the best for the village as a whole. And so that really beautiful dance between like our individual self and our needs and what's best for the group. And so that's one of the aspects. And then also really changing the paradigm of going from ownership to access rather than ownership. And so that is eventually, especially in the phase 2 150 person village, people will come in, and as long as people contribute to the community projects and businesses within the village, everybody will have access to a living space. And that doesn't necessarily mean that we own it, it's just we are part of the village, and as long as we contribute to the village with our agreements, that we have access to that space. And so I feel like we're getting into some really exciting territory in the realms of like new social engineering and social design, in concepts that can be more micro and small in terms of an eco-village. But a lot of these models can scale to larger concepts of urban planning. as well. So we're getting into some exciting stuff, and we're grateful to be sharing a lot of this process with you and hearing your ideas and thoughts and feedback. So I invite you to please comment on this and share any ideas that you have, any questions that you have, and we'll check in soon with the next update as people are moving on to the property. So lots of love and aloha, blessings.